This is a very easy to make pickle that we make every year. Goes great on hamburgers, and it's one of the ones featured in the Ball Blue book. We first start by getting out all our canning supplies, and what I've done is I got a big plastic tote to keep everything together. And we used to have it spread all over the place, but it turned out by just kind of consolidating it in one tote, we can keep everything there, and we can just kind of get a good inventory of what we have in the way of lids and rings and everything. So it makes it really easy to keep track of it. And today we picked a nice batch of pickles, and good thing to get is one of these little scrubby mitts for cucumbers. They work really great at getting those little prickly things off the outside of them. So the first thing you do is you wash the cucumbers. Then we get out our mandolin and set it to a 1/4 inch thickness. Then I go back and I take all the cucumbers and I cut them to be about a 1/4 inch or a little bit more or less than the depth of the jar, so that they'll fit in the jar easily. Next, kind of weigh everything out according to what they call for in the recipe book to make sure you have enough. And then we take the mandolin, and it makes a really quick job of getting nice even slices. So we use this for a lot of our canning of everything, and you can also get some nice ripple slices too if you want. So it's a real handy thing to have if you're going to be canning. Well, there's the cucumbers all sliced up about 2 minutes later. Then the next thing you do is you get your jars ready, wash them in good hot water, and we have a camp stove out in our garage that I use. And then I put the all the jars in the canning pot, and we take them and we bring them to a boil for a while to sterilize them. And then we bring all the other supplies out and pick a little bit of fresh dill and wash it up. And it just doesn't cost all that much to get started in the water bath canning. Well, here I am after the jars have boiled for a while. They're all sterilized and ready to go. So you just go back and make sure you get a good pair of jar tongs and pick them out of the pot, and just be careful when you're draining the water out, because it's so easy to get burned when you're canning if you're not careful or don't have like proper hand protection or whatnot. But so it's just a matter of trying to get everything, keep everything as clean and get it as sterilized as you can, so you do not get any bacteria growth that could cause the food to go bad or become poisonous. Now for this recipe, it's a very simple to make recipe, and all you do is we take the sterilized jars, and then we go back through and take the sliced cucumbers and stuff as many of them in the jar as we can at a time, and just do that for all 8 of your jars. And that little mitt that we got, I think Ball came out with it 2 years ago for holding the jars. That really is a great addition to your canning supplies. It only costs a couple dollars if you wait till the end of the year and get it on clearance. And it makes it real easy to hold the jars without getting your hands burnt. There the jars are filled with the cucumbers. Then you go back through and you start to put in your spices on this recipe. And it's just like 2 peppercorns in each jar, then a little bit of mustard seed in each jar. Then our dill weed that we picked did not have the flowers ready yet. So what we're doing is we just put a couple of the dill seed in to supplement the dill weed. So we put a little bit of dill seed in, then we go back and we just kind of stuff a handful of dill weed in each jar in the cracks and whatnot. And try to make sure that you get everything down in the jar and there's nothing hanging over on the seal area, the lid. So once we get the dill in there, then it's just a matter of filling it up with the brine. You mix up the brine per the recipe. You bring it to a boil for a while, and then you fill each jar to within 1/4 inch of the top edge of the lid. So, like I said, this is about the simplest recipe that you will find for making pickles. And we really like these slices on a nice barbecue grilled hamburger. it does take, you do have to let these sit for about 3 months before they really get the flavor and taste. Okay, here now, once you get the jars filled, take something and just poke down around the jars to try and make sure that you get all the air bubbles out, because you can wind up with spoiled food if you don't. And then I like to take a paper towel and just run it around the ring just to make sure it's nice and clean before you put the lids on. The lids we put in the pot and heat them up pretty good. You bring them up to just below a boil just to sterilize them. And you just put on the outer rings there and just snug them up a little bit. And you're basically done with this recipe. Now, whenever you do any type of canning, whether it's pressure canning or water bath, you always have to very carefully go by the times that they give you. And they also get adjusted by altitude, so you have to be careful for that. Okay, so here we have the jars that are all sealed up, and we put them back into the boiling water. Now this pot here that we have is probably about 30, 35 years old. So once you buy this stuff, it basically lasts forever. And just make sure that once you have them in the water, that you have at least 1 inch of water over the top of them, so that no air can get back into the jars and they get boiled out properly. Then just put the lid on the pot and bring the whole thing up to a good boil again. And once it reaches that boil, you should have like a kitchen timer that is set for the time that they give you to process the foods. And then you just start the timer, and there's my little helper sitting there just kind of keeping an eye on me as we go along. And all right, the time's done now, so it means basically the pickles are done. So just a matter of opening up the pot and then removing all of the jars. Now, for these wide mouth jars, I had to use a little bit different picker out to get the first one out, because they're really snug in there when you put 8 in the pot. So the other one had a little big wide plastic thing. So then I just switched back over to the other one that really grabs better, but it's a lot bigger. So then I just, when you take the jars out, make sure that you put them on, I always put them on like a wooden surface, or put them on a towel or something. Don't ever put them on any surface that is like a marble or a granite or anything like that that could be cool, because the jars will blow right up on you. Okay, so with those jars removed, now I'm ready to start the second batch. And same thing, just we wash all the jars and then put them into the pot and put them in boiling water, and we just let them sit there and boil for maybe about 10-15 minutes to sterilize them. After letting these sit for a couple of minutes, I usually just go back and just snug up the rings if they're really loose, and then just it's a matter of putting them on a rack and just letting them cool for, I don't know, several hours. Now, as they cool, you're going to hear this popping sound as the lids actually seal. And you'll see the lid get kind of sucked down into the jar. And when you're done, you want to make sure that every lid is properly pulled down. And there they are. I moved the jars over onto some racks that I made, which actually are part of my grow light stand. But and here we have the next batch ready to go. And there's shows the second batch done. And then we went back and we did one more batch, and we had 3 batches. Now they're all just sitting on the racks, and leave them there for, quite a while. You can leave them overnight and let them dry. Then what we do is we go back and take the jars, remove the outer rings, make sure you have a good seal on all the tops now. Then I like to wash the jars and just take a Sharpie and label exactly what's in it and the date that you made it. Well, this is just, a quick little video of pickles that we like to make that are really easy thing to start with. And I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe.